IR for the first of three races for the drivers here in the USF Juniors category, the first rung of the USF Pro Championships presented by Cooper Tires. Drivers now leaving the pit lane as it's time to go over what will be a 15-lap event. 40-minute time limit, 15 laps on the docket. Let's have a look at the grid of drivers as they get out there to start burning up some heat, get some temp built into these Cooper tires. Two sets of tires for qualifying in three races. We'll see how tire management comes into play throughout the event. I have a guest joining me here in the PA booth. We'll come to him a little later, but right now let's get looking at the grid. Row number 7 on the outside from Florida, Giovanni Cabrera in the number 93, starting the exclusive Autosport car on the outside of row number 7. On the inside, a podium finisher from Barber Motorsports Park, the Brazilian Lucas Facuri in the number 17 for D-Force Racing. Row number 6 on the outside from California, it is Carson Etter in the number 57 for DC Autosport. Etter has been finding speed throughout the year. Great qualifying run within 2 seconds of our top time. Alongside him, the Texan for DE Force, it is Brady Golan in the number 18. Into the top 10 now outside of row number 5, Jimmy Lockhart for VRD Racing in the number 48. And alongside him, his 13-year-old teammate, Hudson Schwartz in the number 29, starting 9th. Row 4 will have the Brazilian Eric Schoten for Exclusive Autosport in the number 90, alongside Max Taylor out of New Jersey in the number 33 for VRD Racing. On row number 3, it'll be the outside driver from Australia, Quinn Armstrong, a winner from Sebring for D-Force Racing in the number 16. He'll start 6th, and on the inside, best starting spot for VRD driver Ethan Barker in the number 12, starting P5. Row number 2 will have your point leader out of Brazil, Nicholas Giafoni, sweeping the weekend at Barber Motorsports Park. The D-Force driver, the number 19, starting on the outside of row number 2. Inside driver who's shown good speed throughout the entire week so far, Jack Jeffers, the number 92, the Texan for Exclusive Autosport, starting P3. But with 14 drivers in the field, 2 on the front row, and ironically, exactly the same lap time in qualifying, a 155.327. In fact, being told by timing and scoring, exactly the same to 5 decimal places. Unbelievably close. The rule book says the driver who set the time first gets the spot, and that will belong to Ethan Ho, the number 68. His fellow driver at 155.327. Joey Brienza on the outside in the number 91. So the exclusive Autosport driver out of Colorado on the outside, and the DC Autosport number 68 driver Ethan Ho on the inside. His first career pole position. Drivers working their way now down the back straightaway as we get set to go racing. Joining me again in the booth, we'll fire him up here momentarily. Your point leader for the Skip Barber Racing School Formula Car Series, Jackson Bell, coming off a 4th place finish in the front end of their double header here. Alongside him, kind of hanging out. We may get a word with him as well. Sebastian Weldon, his first car racing victory. He's alongside, he's kind of hanging out here. We'll have him in the booth at Road America as well. But again, here come the drivers, folks, out of turn number 15, 16, back to turn 17, the final corner on this long, winding racetrack. And it is about time to go racing. Thank you for tuning in to the broadcast here on the USF Pro Championships YouTube channel or on the app or wherever you are around the racetrack right now to watch these guys get at it. There's your pit lane, and you'll see them coming around pit lane to get things underway. Ho, his first career USF Pro Championship pole position start. Brienza's been on the front row before, a winner at Sebring. Here they come, spooling things up. It is time to go racing, and we are at it. Green, 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 down into turn number 1, and look at the fight to the inside. Ho will come across the track a little bit to see if he can't defend from Jack Jeffers. Can they get through turn number 1 cleanly? Ho has a spot right now, but again, Brienza trying to see if he can't find a way through. Not quite there. Ho will hold on to the position. We may go 3 wide into turn number 3. That is, again, I believe, Schouten down the inside, deeper back. And a good start there for Giafoni. He may make a move to the inside of Brienza. Brienza, though, to the inside of turn 4 up on the curb. That actually wasn't Brienza. That was Jeffers, who's gone to second. So Jeffers to second behind Ho. It's Ethan Ho, Jeffers, Giafoni, and Brienza. That's your top 4. First time through the snake. They'll work their way down here. Here comes Jeffers immediately to the inside. Jack Jeffers going to pull alongside into the S's side by side. They are indeed through. It'll be the inside move there for Jeffers. He'll come out with a spot. That is close racing through that particular part of the racetrack, looks to me. And we'll go to the drone now. There's the lead for Jeffers. Giafoni going to go to work. Brienza checks up a little bit coming into Oak Tree. It's going to be a 3-car length lead for Jeffers with great forward bite. Got the car to rotate. Big run down the back straightaway. and Jack Jeffers will take the early lead. One driver going a couple wheels off at the back of the pack. Otherwise, everybody clean and green up through to turn number 14. So now that we've got the opening lap almost done, let's bring Jackson Bell in. Jackson, you started at the very back of the pack for your race. Good speed in qualifying, but you had a spin. You lose all your laps. I think you're up to 7th by the end of the first lap. How was that first circuit for you?
Yeah, it was a shame to start at the back, but was able to make up a few spots in the first lap and kind of set my sights on the leaders from there. Got up to 3rd from 16th with a few laps to go, but a battle with Caleb Gaffar let me out in the dry for the last corner. So great battles overall, but not the ideal finish.
Jackson will get a chance to do it again tomorrow. They'll have qualifying in another race for the Skip Barber Formula Car Series. But look at this battle down into turn number 1. Ethan Ho trying to go around the outside. You can make that happen here at VIR. Is he able to hold it? Jeffers trying to pinch him off. Jack Jeffers not able to get away. A little bit of contact potentially. Got tight in there. Giafoni right there to watch. So it's right now it's Jeffers, Ho, and Giafoni. That is your top 3. Brienza came across the line in 4th. 5th was Ethan Barker. 6th, Max Taylor. 7th, Jimmy Lockhart. 8th, 9th, 10th, Eric Schouten, Hudson Schwartz, and Lucas Facuri. Looks like we have probably about a 7-car, I think, pack coming up here before you have the first gap. Here comes Giafoni, though. Again, tucking in on the gearbox of Ho as they work their way back up the hill through the S's. This is where Jeffers seems to be pretty good. But again, that big, huge draft coming, of course, out of turn number 5 and then down out of Oak Tree, which is turn the 11-12 complex, and then all the way up to turn number 14 is so big. Jackson, for you guys, the Skip Barber cars, same kind of thing. Is the draft that huge in those cars?
Yeah, the draft's definitely noticeable. If you don't have a draft and you kind of lose the pack that you're chasing, it's hard to catch back up in those low horsepower cars. But draft here at VIR plays a huge part with how long the back straightaway is.
It seems to me that's a mindset you have to take too, right? You can't be getting too aggressive. You know with the draft you're going to be able to close back up. You were quick there. You got up to Gaffara. At one point on a restart, Weldon here was able to get a good jump, but you guys were 1, 2, 3, 4, fully leveraging the draft when we went back to Green Flag Racing.
Yeah, it's a fun battle. I mean, going back and forth into roller coaster off the back straightaway, each lap side by side is exciting. So looking forward to more battles like that tomorrow.
Jackson will be back again tomorrow, winning the first 4 races of the season. He still has a good point lead right now over Sebastian Weldon, who gets his first win. Look at this again here. Top 3 drivers lined up. Brienza right there too. 3 different teams as well. Exclusive, DC Autosport, and D-Force. And how about Giafoni to the inside? He'll overcook. And an over-under for Jack Jeffers. And this is going to bring Brienza and Max Taylor back into the fight as well. Giafoni may be able to hold off Ho. I think he does. Indeed, Ethan Ho getting hung out to dry a bit on the outside. A defensive move down there for Giafoni to try to hold him off. This could be enough for Jeffers to potentially break the draft. And that's one of the things that Weldon was able to do pretty well in that Skip Barber race earlier today is Joshua Lionel, Gaffara, and Bell kind of battled it out for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. As they started to battle, Sebastian pulled away, and that's kind of what we may see out of Jeffers here if he's able to stretch. But again, Giafoni, as we know, very talented driver out of Brazil, winning both races at Barber Motorsports Park. Point leader coming in, and he has worked his way into 2nd. It really has been in the top 3 or 4 all through yesterday's 3 test sessions, the practice earlier today as well. He did have an off at the end of practice, went off here in Oak Tree and got into the tires and bent the left front. So he has had an incident on the day already. Again, this is about Jeffers trying to break the draft. There's the lead group. 8 drivers, I think, in the lead group now. Make that 9. Hudson Schwartz at the tail. Then you got to go back about 2 seconds to Carson Etter, who runs 10th. They had a Brady Golan, Quinn Armstrong, Eric Schouten, and Giovanni Cabrera. So something happened to Schouten there. He was in the top 8 at one point, but he has fallen back. You can see how Giafoni's closed back up. Jackson, I know this is your first year of racing. You and I did a podcast for my USF Pro Insider a couple of days ago. We talked about the fact you really don't have any kind of a karting career. Nothing like Sebastian beside us here, spent many years in karting. Where does the patience come from? Did you do some sim racing? Because really, especially at a track like this, knowing you have the draft, you have to have some level of patience.
Yeah, for sure. Sim racing 100% helps with that, as I don't have a whole lot of karting experience. Yeah, sim racing has definitely made the transition easier, but it's a challenge trying to learn as quickly as the other kids that have some karting experience in the past.
At least the one thing is you do have essential sim karting experience, like I'm sure all the karters do. It is that transition from karting to cars, which is not the easiest thing. Stacking things back up again. And one thing we haven't mentioned yet when we started off the broadcast here yet, folks, was it's been a beautiful day. 85 degrees earlier, 84 right now. But we are watching the radar. There is a significant potential cell coming in from the northeast that could bring some rain to this race. We are now 3 laps in. And, there could be an opportunity if we get enough rain and it's dangerous enough that we'd have to bring the drivers in and potentially go to wets. Right now, they'll still dry, and we're knocking the laps out, working lap number 4. Jack Jeffers has not yet been able to pull away, and the exclusive Autosport number 92 is D-Force Racing's Nicholas Giafoni, continuing to put on the pressure. There's that run again out of Oak Tree. Jackson, what do you think in terms of how far away do you need to break the draft here? Does it need to be like 10 or 11 car lengths? Are you looking at a full second to potentially break the draft?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a sizable gap. Usually if you can stay within the draft kind of through the S's, it'll set you up pretty good for the back straightaway. We often tend to see the dragon down the back straightaway here to try and break it.
Well, that was run over in the drivers' meeting. The dragon definitely not allowed in our racing here. You're not going to see the Joseph Newgarden and Marcus Ericsson dragging up the straightaway here. We allow the one move. You come out of Oak Tree to the driver's left, you're essentially allowed to come back across to the right to set up for 14, but you're only allowed that one move. You can hold it for a while, but you're only allowed one move, and you can't move. In our series, you can't move in retaliation. So, again, you're seeing that right now as Giafoni trying to find a way by. Here comes Brienza as well to the inside. Brienza putting some pressure now on Ethan Ho. Ho's going to have the inside coming to turn number 3, but Brienza putting a lot of pressure on there. Actually, that's Max Taylor. Pardon me, Brienza has fallen to 7. That is Max Taylor who's on the move right now. So good job there for Taylor and a driver, 4 wheels off. Coming out of turn number 3. How easy is that to do in these cars, trying to carry the speed through 2 and 3?
It's pretty easy, and the drop-off's pretty severe, as I figured out in practice.
Skip Barber drivers getting a chance to do their practice sessions. And, of course, qualifying earlier today, set up for race number 1. They'll do it all again tomorrow, qualifying in the morning right before race number 2. And then, again, we'll see them get back on track for their second race. Big group up front, and drivers doing a fantastic job so far. Let's restack the top 10 for you. Jeffers is your leader. Giafoni runs in second. Ethan Ho still third. Fourth is now Max Taylor. Jimmy Lockhart with the fast lap of the race started deeper in the field. Started 10th, I believe. He is now up into 5th. So a good run for Lockhart coming off a podium 3rd at Barber in race number 2. Ethan Barker runs in 6th. Joey Brienza has fallen to 7th. Lucas Facuri 8th. Hutchins Schwartz and Quinn Armstrong rounding out your top 10. 3 different winners on the season so far. Joey Brienza, Quinn Armstrong, and Nicholas Giafoni. Jack Jeffers would be the 4th winner if he can get the job done, but we have ourselves essentially a 4-driver breakaway trying to pull away. But again, remember, the guy back in 5th, even though it looks like a front-running quartet pulling away, the fastest driver, P5, is actually Jimmy Lockhart. He's got the speed now. He was 3/10 quicker than the leader last time by, so Lockhart in the VRD racing machine is rolling. Jeffers using everything he can, running the bottom part of the racetrack. Ho's down there as well. So is the VRD driver, Max Taylor. Giafoni trying the outside. You know what Ho's trying to do? He's trying to see if he can't be in there. Yeah, Ho's trying to see if he can't. Look at this battle. Oh, no, he gets turned around. Ho gets turned around by Max Taylor. Taylor got into the left rear of Ethan Ho, spun him around coming out of turn number 1, and the pole sitter gets looped. Able to continue on and rolling out in front of one of the D-Force cars. Those tires are going to be super dirty having been in the grass, but contact between Max Taylor and Ethan Ho sends them around. That was the battle for P3 coming out of turn number 1 on lap number 6. So I'm sure Race Control will be having a good look at that one as contact between those 2 drivers sent them back. We do have a chance to have a look at the replay, I believe, of this, so let's re-rack that as the drivers work their way over to Oak Tree. Let's have a look at the replay. Jackson, you have a good look. I'm going to bring you in as the analyst here as we're going to set that up. Jackson's like, I'm not sure if I want to be in charge of this program. So here they have into turn number 1. And that down they go. Ho's on the inside of the racetrack. He's defending from Taylor. Looks to me like I think Giafoni has some trouble on the outside. Gets outside the groove. Look how much he loses. Ho tries to close back up. And then coming around the outside, do you think that Taylor maybe dropped the wheel there?
I don't Oh, it looked pretty close to me. I think it might have been hard for Ethan Ho to see Max in his mirrors there. It's you kind of focused forward at that point, but yeah, just come together at the wrong time and sends Ho around.
Let's run that back again, guys. I think we have time. Let's run it back, even though we'll get back to the battle, because watch Taylor potentially drop a wheel. There's a bit of extra there, and he just drops a wheel. It looks like he almost loops himself there, too.
Yeah, you might be right.
Tough one there for Max Taylor, and of course for Ethan Ho. Let's go back to the live action as they work their way down into turn number 1. A bit of a gap here. There's Jeffers, and that's the biggest gap he's had so far. Big deep move to the inside potentially for Giafoni. So 6 drivers still in the lead group. And a driver just gone off. Couple drivers have gone off into turn number 1. I wonder is there precipitation over there? Do we have some wetness? Because 2 drivers are off. We've got guys off the end of the straightaway. I'm going to say Jimmy Lockhart and Max Taylor potentially off. The yellow flag flying in that corner. Everybody else kind of hold on. Again, we talk about precipitation. I don't see anything where we are. We're not that far away from turn 1. Everybody else on it. There's first and second. So Jeffers and Giafoni get through cleanly. Who is this? That's one of the VRD cars, then one of the D-Force cars. So I think that might be Fakuri who's come through. I wonder if Brienza went off. Another spin, more drivers off. Cabrera, look at we got drivers spinning all over the place. I think that might be Brienza. I'm wondering whether or not it's raining in that part of the racetrack, folks. Indeed, yeah, I think it is definitely raining here trackside. It has happened, so there you go. Rain has arrived, and obviously catching the drivers off completely. They were full song coming down into turn number 1, and rain has arrived. And I'm looking around to see if we're full course. Indeed, we're going to go full course yellow as a bunch of drivers going off, caught out by the wet that we thought was coming. And indeed, we'll get a chance to potentially get a replay of that happening in turn number 1 as 2 drivers went off. And you got to think, guys, I don't know how much racing you've done in the rain in the car. You have done any rain sessions so far yet this year?
Yeah, we had a few at Road Atlanta at the beginning of the year.
You got to be cognizant of what happens on the visor, right, when you're going into these corners.
But that's the last thing you're thinking about when you get in the race car and it's dry outside. You're not thinking about, well, maybe there'll be some rain in a few minutes, right?
They go down into turn number 1, and you just saw what happened. Definitely caught them off guard. The rain has arrived trackside. We are full course yellow. And I had a chance to speak to our race director, Joel Miller, before the start of the race, what we were going to do if the rain were to come. If it did come, we would assess, go full course yellow, and again, wait to see whether or not it was drivable. You can slow down and drive around the racetrack in the wet, but that literally just caught everybody off guard coming down into turn number 1, trying to figure out which drivers when they come back around. It's now Jeffers, Giafoni, Hudson Schwartz up into the second spot. Now, I don't know that anybody's actually off in 1. I think they may have come back on. So we'll wait. Live timing is kind of messy here right now. Pace cars got out there. Jeffers still the leader, but you can see the glare on the racetrack from the wet that we did have a number of drivers going off. So we'll see what happens here now because, again, we're coming around to get the halfway point. 7 laps down, and it'll be 8 done when we get back around, I believe. But, again, will there be an opportunity? What do we do? Do we cycle around here a bit? Do we go red? Do we see whether or not we could potentially go back? Again, this cell is a very small cell. There is more rain coming through, but literally a small cell in front of us. This rain could essentially be gone in a couple of minutes. But, again, how wet will the racetrack be? Do we go to wet tires? Similar to what we saw at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway during the road course when we had a rain hit. We went red. We gave them a chance to change to wet tires, but it went dry so quickly. It was a pretty messy finish. Ricardo Escoto from J. Howard Driver Development, he and Reese Usajima able to come forward and get first and second. So again, behind the pace car, this is what we got last time by. So the drivers, I believe, going off, Ethan Barker, Max Taylor. Coming across, we had Jack Jeffers, Nicholas Giafoni, and Hudson Schwartz able to come through. Started back in 9th, Schwartz up into 3rd. Lucas Fakuri, who started outside the top 10, he's 4th. Quinn Armstrong, 5th. Essentially, the drivers who were deeper in the field saw what was happening. The yellow flags were coming out. They were able to check up early and capitalize on this. How Jeffers and Giafoni didn't go off as the leaders storming into 1, I don't know. Outside the top 5, Ethan Ho is 6th. Joey Brienza in 7th. 8th, Jimmy Lockhart. Ninth, Eric Schouten. Carson Eder in 10th. Max Taylor 11th. Brady Golan in 12th. Giovanni Cabrera in 13th. And Ethan Barker back to 14th spot. Everybody coming around to put lap number 7 in. You can see the umbrellas are out. It is wet. I don't know if it's still raining. Yeah, it's down. Oh, no, it's, as I look outside, you're obviously fixated on our cameras and our monitor watching, but a quick look outside the PA booth, and it is 100% raining right now. Of course, the conundrum for the race director, Joel Miller, how long will this last? When we look at the actual radar, it's not like it's a huge cloud coming in. It's really quite a small cell, which makes things a bit tougher. We do have the Cooper Reigns laid out for all the teams getting ready to go here. And again, there is significant rain still happening on the racetrack. They'll put lap number 8 in the books when they come back around. You're going to start seeing the rooster tails there. As I look to the east, it seems like there's even darker clouds coming. I don't think we've seen the toughest part of the cell. Field will work its way down the front straightaway once again. Lap 8 will go in the books here. We are under yellow. We'll see if we have any drivers pit to potentially make repairs here under the yellow. If you're at the tail of the field and you want to get something fixed up, I don't know if there's any damage. Let's have a quick look at some of the cars as they go by. I'm not seeing any significant damage. Jackson, you guys said you had some wet weather at Road Atlanta. That was the first round of the series for you. Here you come in for your first year racing cars. We can pass the mic over to Sebastian later on as well. What was that like? Road Atlanta's a tough place in the wet, man. There's a lot of elevation changes there.
Yeah, not easy, but I think it's kind of similar to VRR, right? Like, got a lot of fast, flowy corners, and so it's super easy to get caught out in a place you don't want to be in the wet. So it'll be a challenge if they go back green here in the rain. Just trying to figure out what the limit is in the corners.
Give me your thoughts on that. Again, like I said, sim racing's one thing. I know you run a rain sim, you're not going to get a chance on the sim to learn in like that. How did you feel the first time out? Was it just kind of did you work your way up slowly? I love running in the rain, but it's definitely a unique discipline.
Yeah, it is unique because they don't have rain on the sim quite
That's
yet.
it, right?
That's coming soon.
One day, right? That'll be nice.
I don't know. I talked to a few people. My boss at Lab, Jeff C.
Yep.
Has raced in the rain many times. He told me a good thing. Kind of go out and overdrive it and then kind of back it up to where it feels fast and you can kind of feel where the limit is. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Just went out and kind of drove laps and pushed pretty hard, but not too aggressive.
That's
right?
it.
So, yeah, definitely a challenge.
Let's pass the mic over to Sebastian Weldon here. He's actually going to join me in the booth at Road. Come on, get yourself a little closer at Road America. We're there with the Skip Barber program at Road America as well. You were going to join me here. We kind of lost a couple of sessions. First off, congratulations, first car win. How does that feel right now?
It feels really good, especially how I was able just to get a good gap and pull away.
Let's talk about you running in the wet. Obviously, you've done it a lot in karting. Let's transition from karting in the wet to car racing in the wet. How much different was it for you?
No, yeah, it's a lot different, especially since a go-kart's much lighter than a car, and the lines are different. Like, with the go-kart, you can really, you get more on the outside of the track, but then in the car, you can use more of the racing line and stuff like that. Let's
get back to the racing for today. Obviously, a big win for you. You've been chasing Bell here all year so far. He's got 4 wins. How do you feel getting that win and stopping his streak? Because if you want to get back in the championship, you can't let him keep winning.
No, yeah, it feels good, especially since I have some good speed now. I don't know if something clicked or something, but I feel good.
Is it something about this track? Obviously, some different racetracks, right? Road Atlanta, as Jackson said, kind of similar to what we had VIR. Elevation changes, fast corners. NOLA, absolutely flat, right? No real visuals to pick up on. Then we come here to VIR. Do you like this track?
Oh, this track's not one of my favorites, but especially it's up there. But the reason why is because I'm just not a fan of the elevation where it is on the track, but it's still a fun track. I mean,
we're going to Road America next. There's some elevation change there too.
Yeah, I love that track, especially with the long straights, turn 1.
Have you ever driven anything there before?
No,
or just the sim?
Just on the sim.
Just the sim. Yeah. All right. Well, again, folks, we'll pass that back to Jackson. We're going to have Sebastian Weldon joining us in the PA booth in August when we're there for the USF Juniors race. He's, of course, going to go after another race win if he possibly can. So we're working our way around. 8 laps in the books. We'll put lap 9 now in. 6 laps to go. Okay, let's have a look outside again. Looks to me like the rain has stopped. So, again, I said Joel Miller, tough situation for him because you can't really come in now and put reins on. Again, I'm looking outside. I don't think we have any more umbrellas up. Looks like the rain has stopped, so we're going to circulate around a little bit here. That's a really difficult situation, as I said. The cell we talked about coming through is kind of blown through here a little bit here now. There's almost 2 cells that kind of go around the outside of the track, so we had a little bit, of course, of precipitation. They're going to be getting a lot of feedback from the pace car driver. How does it feel around the track? Is there grip? And again, these drivers can get a feel for it now. You can see a little slide there. You know, this is a situation. Do we go back to green? The drivers knowing that it's not raining, that they understand certainly the level of the grip now. Do you go back to green and tell them to take care of it? Now, again, this is the very first step on the ladder in this program, so we'll see how this all plays out. Getting some updates here. So Danny Anderson coming in to chat here from Anderson Promotions. They're going to get the yellow this time by, and then I believe we're going to go back to green flag racing. So they're going to get the call to go back. Again, chance to circulate around the track a little bit, get a feel for where the wetness is, and the drivers are going to be. It's put it in the hand of these drivers. So many of them with experience in karting, others maybe a little less. But we're going to put it in the hands of these drivers to understand where the grip is, and this is going to be very interesting to watch. I know I love getting out on a cart when I can, if it's wet, and put on the slicks because it's just so much fun to try to figure out if there's any grip whatsoever. You can see the driver starting to do some weaving back and forth. Let's get a feel for the potential level of grip coming down the back straightaway. Again, the rain has stopped. Blue skies coming through. Lap 10 will go in the books this time. If indeed we get the 1 to go this next time by, it'll be lap 11 when we get back around, so potential 4-lap dash to the end. Again, what do you do? How do you approach this? Because the bottom line is the grip level is not going to be what it was like the last time you were racing. It's going to get a little slippery around this track, and that run down into turn number 1 will certainly be interesting. And light still on the pace car. I believe we'll go 1 more lap around. That's what we get from race control. It is Jack Jeffers as the leader. Nicholas Giafoni in second. 13-year-old Hudson Schwartz running in third, looking down a potential podium finish, but with the most difficult conditions this young driver's ever seen. Still running junior karting in the national level, but starting to dabble in here with this USF Juniors program. We expect, of course, Hudson at 13 to do a full season next year once again. Lucas Facuri and Quinn Armstrong, all 3 of the D-Force drivers currently in the top 5. Ethan Ho, 6th. Joey Brienza, 7th. Jimmy Lockhart, 8th. Eric Schoten in 9th. Carson Eder, 10th. Max Taylor, 11th. Giovanni Cabrera in 12th. Ethan Barker, 13th. And Brady Golden now 14th. So waiting for the rest of the field to come back around. Indeed, everyone on the lead lap still. Even though we had drivers off in the grass in several parts of this racetrack, we are back at it. Jackson, how do you approach this now, knowing that the track's not going to be absolutely perfect? Say you're the front guy, your lead coming in there. What do you do? Are you checking up? Are you feeling? Or are you going to push decently hard into one?
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting. I'm sure Jack's happy to be leading, but it's like firing off blind in turn 1. So
Exactly that.
I don't know if that's an advantage or a disadvantage. I'm looking at kind of leaderboard, and Giafoni in second might be in a good seat to kind of see what Jeffers does and kind of see what the limit of the track conditions.
Speaking of track conditions, as we know, on the racing line, normally not fantastic in the wet because obviously the rubber and the water do not mix very well, but there's not going to be a lot of grip down the inside either because that's likely going to be maybe still a little bit damp, but the drivers do kind of try to work the race line a bit. So again, Jackson giving us kind of a little bit of an insight on his thoughts on it because what is it going to be coming into turn number 1? Where do you want to be? Maybe 5th might be the best place to be. If everybody else goes storming in and off the racetrack, you never know.
I agree. I'm looking right now. The track doesn't look too wet, so it could kind of dry up pretty quickly once they get back to green. So it'll be exciting for sure.
4 laps will remain when we go back to green. Jackson Bell, point leader to the Skip Barber Formula Car Series, joining me here in the booth alongside Sebastian Weldon, grabbing his first race win of his car racing career here today at VIR. They'll try to do it again tomorrow. But 4 more to go. And again, both Jackson and Sebastian gunning after that $100,000 scholarship to take to USF Juniors in 2024. Will we get a new winner today? Will it be Jack Jeffers? Will Nicholas Giafoni grab what would be his 4th win of the season? 1 victory at Sebring, 2 at Barber Motorsports Park. Hudson Schwartz, just 13 years of age. Does he come out of what could be some craziness? All we know is we expect to go green flag racing this time by. It'll be 11 laps in the books. It's a 15-lap race. It'll be 4 to go. Great job for the drivers over the first half of this race, the first 7 laps. Did have a little bit of contact here and there, but nonetheless, the drivers did a good job. Lights are out on the pace car. All right. What is it going to be like? This is going to be intriguing coming into turn number 1. Guaranteed that Jack Jeffers continuing to get a feel for it every time back through. How quickly can he go? And they'll creep them down. They were told in the driver's meeting they can punch off anytime in turn number 17, but you got to watch for wheel spin. And I believe Jeffers is on the go pedal there, working way out of 17, racing our way down into turn number 1. We'll pick him up here at start finish. And here they come. Giafoni's going to go to the outside. Jeffers going to hold the inside. What kind of grip level do we have in turn number 1? Giafoni with a big run. And Jeffers going to try to hold the inside. Jeffers has got the spot. He'll hold the position. Further back, guys can be an extra aggressive. Giafoni tries to over-under him. It'll be to the inside for Jeffers. Giafoni on the outside. How about 2-3 wide further back? Giafoni, that's a rough outside run. Can he over-under him back through again? Jeffers doesn't want to give it to him into 4. More drivers coming aggressively further back. I believe that was Fakuri looking to the inside of Schwartz. That will be in turn 4, and I think he's through. That's either going to be Lucas Fakuri or Quinn Armstrong, or maybe both. Indeed, both drivers. So it's D-Force Racing 2-3-4 right now. And Quinn Armstrong is going to go side by side with Fakuri. Not quite there, coming into the S's. Wisely backed out of it. Right behind him is Joey Brienza, I believe. So 2 drivers breaking away, and Jack Jefferson, Nicholas Giafoni. And again, we're going to see 3 to go when they come back around. First time through Oak Tree, looks pretty good. Going to watch it getting out onto the exit curbing. Painted concrete, not the grippiest on this racetrack. Although remember, everybody had a chance to walk around this track, as did all the Skip Barber drivers, to get a good look at the curbing, where you can get up on, where you potentially can't, where the grip levels are. A lot of curbing you can attack through 14, 15, and 16 coming down through that downhill part of the racetrack as well. They'll finish things up. Down here they come. Look at this side-by-side action. Giafoni throwing everything at Jeffers right now. This is a great battle up front. The Texan versus the Brazilian. Back down through 17. And they've got themselves a little bit of a gap, and we'll find out which D-Force drivers worked his way up into 3rd. We'll restack the top 10 for you when they come back around. Here they come down the front straightaway. Giafoni's going to try that outside run again. Jeffers running the inside as he should. Giafoni's going to keeps trying to want to clear him coming down in here. But Jeffers deep again on the brake. Side by side. Giafoni's got some good run on the outside this time. And it's Jeffers trying to fight him off. They're side by side coming through. Giafoni, I think, is going to take the spot. Giafoni, I believe, held the outside, and he'll go to P1. I think it's Giafoni to the lead. Look at this. Jeffers is going to go back around him. What a fight here for Jack Jeffers. He holds him off. What a scrap right now up front. Jeffers leads. Giafoni in 2nd. Lucas Fakuri says, let's go. Fakuri, does he try to go by his teammate? He thinks about the outside of the S's. Top 3 drivers. Gearbox to nose. Back up through the S's. Schwartz still runs 4th. Brienza 5th. Lockhart 6th. Quinn Armstrong 7th. Ho, Schouten, Taylor. Cap off your top 10. Ethan Ho back to 8th. After qualifying on the pole, a spin between he and Taylor. He goes to the tail of the field, fighting his way back forward. Jeffers with a bit of a lead down the back straight, but the big draft here at VIR is going to bring them all back in under the toe. 2 to go next time by. 2 laps remaining when they come back around here, but they got to get through the downhill 14, 15, 16. Jack Jeffers turned a pretty good lap last time by a 56.508, his best lap. We've got a 56.5 as well by Brienza. Brienza tried to get aggressive further back. He was able to get by, I believe, Lockhart. And again, coming out of 17, that big run down the straightaway. You know the draft is coming for Giafoni. Jackson's going to try around the outside again. This is going to be interesting. Here they come. Again, a big run for Giafoni. Is he going to clear him before they even come into the corner? Jeffers is going to have to go deep on the brakes. Gets it to twitch a bit. They're side by side. Oh, so close. Giafoni, I think, may come out, but he's on the outside. No, this time he's through. This time it's Giafoni. Jeffers into second. We got ourselves a great fight for the lead right now. Look at Jeffers using all the racetrack to the outside. Oh, he's going to try around the outside of 4. Outside of 4, inside of 5. Jeffers goes back to P1, maybe? No. They're side by side through the snake. Jackson, what do you think?
That was pretty nuts.
I'm watching these guys, Jackson and Sebastian, look at each other as these guys are side by side coming through. These are 2 talented young drivers hanging it out here. Jeffers wants that first win. Giafoni trying to pad the point lead. It's 21 over Brienza right now. Jeffers down in 6th. He's trying to get himself back up into contention. I'll tell you who's on the move now as well as Joey Brienza. Don't count him out. He has arrived on the gearbox of Facuri. I wouldn't be surprised to see Brienza go by Facuri. He's the 4th driver in the train there. Watch for him to try to see if he can't slipstream by Facuri coming up into turn number 14. Because Brienza's the driver on the move now. And think about that. If he gets up there with Jeffers, it would be 2 exclusive drivers battling with the D-Force point leader. White flag's going to fly this time by. Do we have fireworks to end the opening race of a triple header? And they're stacking it up. Brienza, I think, trying to get by. Is he through? Trying to pick him up? No, he does not get by. He is putting all the pressure on Facuri. That's going to be tough for Brienza. He may have been able to challenge for a race win and he got by. But now I think he's going to be fighting for the final position on the podium. And I think, who else is in there? Here they come. White flag flying this time by. Good lead for Giafoni. And in fact, Brienza got pushed back a little bit, I think. Look at this. 3 wide. Brienza's got trouble. Brienza has some trouble. We're 3 or 4 wide into 1. Brienza had an issue. Right rear damage to Joey Brienza. He's going to go to the tail of the field. Oh, a driver's off. And boom. No, he does not make contact. It's one of the VRD drivers. I think that might have been Lockhart. There's the 33 of Taylor somehow back up into the top 5. So now Giafoni and Jeffers 1-2. We're not done yet at all. But Brienza to the tail of the field, damage, contact over in turn number either 15 or 16. So tough one for Brienza. I think he tried to go to the outside of 15 to get around Facuri. They had contact, right rear damage for him. But what do we got here for Jeffers? The big run down the straightaway. Here's the fight for the race win, final lap. It's Giafoni versus Jeffers. Do you want to be P1? Do you want to be P2? What do you think, Jackson, coming down the back straight?
I like P1 right here. I think Giafoni will have a good shot to defend in the roller coaster.
And Weldon just put up the 2 sign. He'd like to be second. I don't know. I think I'd like to be leading as well, but here comes the rundown. Does Jeffers have anything for him?
Got a big run.
He did get a big run. Is it enough? And maybe the driver in 3rd could come out with the win. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Right there. All together. Let's see what happens as they come over. We're going to lose them in 14, coming through 15. Who do we see first coming through this corner? Do we see anybody? Are they off track? No, it's on the outside. Look at this fight. It could be a drag race to the line again. They come through 15, 16. Can Jeffers get a better run? Giafoni's got the lead, but can he use the draft coming up the straightaway? Yellow flag flying in that corner. That's probably for Brienza. He may be off the racetrack, so you can't pass there, but you can drag race to the line, and it's not going to be done for Jeffers. The winner in race 1 at VIR is Giafoni. Nicholas Giafoni comes home with the victory. Jack Jeffers in 2nd. 3rd spot goes to Quinn Armstrong. What a drive for Armstrong as he's able to get by his teammate Lucas Facuri. Armstrong finishes 3rd. Taylor 4th. Lucas Facuri in 5th. Eric Schoten up to 6th. Hudson Schwartz 7th, Ethan Barker 8th, Brady Golan 9th, and 10th is Carson Etter. Jimmy Lockhart falling down to 11th. Ethan Ho goes to 13th. The pole sitter not having a good finish. And Joey Brienza, who was battling it out there with Lucas Facuri, ends up with right rear damage. And he's off the track on lap number 13, or lap 14 rather, is not able to finish the lap. But wow, the driver now with 3 straight victories, won both races at Barber and the first race here at VIR, the Brazilian Nicholas Giafoni, stretching his lead significantly out over Joey Brienza now as Brienza finishes 14th, Giafoni with the win. That is going to be a big gap right now. Lots of racing still to do on the year, but Giafoni is going to like the gap he'll take into race number 2 and 3 tomorrow. Quinn Armstrong, 3rd in points, will likely move up into 2nd, and you're going to see Jack Jeffers take a big leap forward as well. All told, a pretty wild race. The rain came on lap number 7, lost a couple of laps, 4 laps racing at the end. Giafoni, Jeffers, and Armstrong on the podium. Taylor with the fast lap of the race, I believe, back on lap number 7. Or rather, lap number 50. Was it the last lap? Indeed. No, last lap was the best lap for Max Taylor. Wow. 156.367. Did not see any ruling come down for the contact between he and Ethan Ho. But there's the driver there who will stand on top of the podium today, Nicholas Giafoni, with his 3rd straight win, 4th of the season, the Brazilian stretching his point lead. Jackson Bell, what did you think about that one? A lot of action and a pretty wild finish as well.
Yeah, it felt like they were swapping the lead each lap. It was pretty cool to see. So congrats to Nicholas, and what a race.
Hey, thanks for joining me in the booth. I appreciate it. Best of luck tomorrow battling this kid Weldon. He looks pretty fast here.
Yeah, it'll be tough to catch him, but we'll do our best.
Jackson Bell, folks, joining us here right now. Great job for him. And again, having a strong day coming from the tail of the field to P4. Good job for him. Folks, we're going to go to the podium right now. We're going to cut to a quick run of commercials. When we get back, it's time to award some hardware to the top 3 drivers in USF Juniors. Let's get things underway right now here with the award presentations here, folks. Again, getting things dialed in here. A wild finish for sure. Again, Danny Anderson's going to help me out to pass some awards. Final couple laps were crazy. Let's get the driver coming home in 3rd place today. Put your hands together for Quinn Armstrong. Big final lap. Dan, you want to pass that P3 to Quinn? He battled himself from deep in the field, was able to work his way forward. And again, the last lap we knew was going to be hectic. Those last couple, everybody getting aggressive to work their way forward. Tremendous job for Quinn to, again, get himself up to P3 and onto the podium. And that championship still very much in hand for young Quinn Armstrong. Battle up front was great, back and forth, side by side throughout the entire race. The runs down into turn number 1, some really super clean racing as well. Finishing in 2nd spot today for Exclusive Autosport, Jack Jeffers coming home in P2. Up there, Jack, and Dan will bring you the P2 trophy. Jeffers was a leader for majority of that race. You know he's going to be back strongly in race 2 and 3. But again, the driver was able to work his way forward. As I had said in the broadcast, he was really in the top 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers throughout the entire day, yesterday and today. But coming through with a great victory here today. His 4th win of the season, 3rd win in a row for D-Force Racing, Nicholas Giafoni. Dan, you give him the trophy. Yeah, we'll give him the trophy first, then I'll jump up there and talk to Nicholas. Make sure I got enough wire here. Thank you, Dan. I'll climb up there and talk to Nicholas because that was a tremendous battle at the end there. Nicholas, come up here and talk to me really quickly. What a race. This track obviously kind of lines up for that. You're able to draft so much. Jack would get out there. You were able to draft in. Tell me about those last couple of laps. So you guys were side by side.
No, I mean it was a chess. It was a chess game throughout the whole race. I knew the draft was going to be a big thing, and we got to race it clean. we were able to fight, but we fought without touching each other, which was very nice. We fought hard for the win, and we were lucky enough to come on top. I really like Virginia. It's a nice track. I mean, the draft is crazy. I've never seen such thing in my life. But D-Force did an amazing job. It was my first time out on the track yesterday, so we have been pushing really, really hard, and this is a win for them.
Can you tell us a little bit about the grip level after we went back? Obviously, the rain came, kind of caught everybody off guard. You and Jack were able to get through turn 1. Rex behind you. When we got back to green flag, what was the grip level like?
Well, once we got back to green flag, it was pretty safe. I think turn 16 and 17 were a bit wet still, the last sector, but it was safe enough for us to be racing. It was, I mean, amazing. But of course, once you see the rain, you see the wet, you see the yellow flag, and everybody kind of going wide. You gotta stay a bit focused and focus your energy on the correct area, so you don't make any mistakes that will compromise your race.
Who do you want to thank today on this win?
Well, I gotta thank David. I gotta thank Ernesto, and I mean all my teammates, because I crashed on practice, and they they did an amazing job getting the back set for qualifying. We had a strong car on qualifying. Tow kind of makes this qualifying a bit unpredictable, but they did an amazing job. The car was on fire, and I'm happy to show that to them.
Congratulations. Get in the middle here. We'll get some pictures done. Nicholas Giafoni, folks, his 4th win of the season. Great job for Nicholas. Awesome drive as well for Jack Jeffers right in the middle of that fight, as we know. And Quinn Armstrong able to come through what was a barn burner battle over the last couple of laps. We didn't know who it was who was going to be able to come out with that 3rd spot. It was just some tremendous racing for sure. And again, we're going to do this all over again tomorrow. We've got race 2 and race 3 lined up. We'll see whether or not anybody went quicker in this race than they did as their 2nd fastest lap in qualifying, to see whether or not the grid will swap up a little bit. But it should be interesting to see how things line up for race number 2. We won't know race 3's grid until we're done with race 2, because if a driver goes significantly faster in race number 2 than they did in their 2nd fastest lap in qualifying, that could change where they start the final race of the weekend as well. Otherwise, these drivers are going to get a chance to sleep on the action they had here today. But I'll tell you, one of the beauties of this USF Juniors program, so many talented young drivers in this program. Guys, let's have some fun here. Grip it and rip it. Let's have some celebration time. Quinn's going after the family. The champagne flies, and that wraps things up from race number 1 at Virginia International Raceway. We're back tomorrow on Sunday, folks. 2 more races to go. Race number 7 and 8 of the 2023 season. Please join us here on the USF Pro Championships app or the YouTube channel. We got more of what we just saw today. Talented drivers going for race wins and ultimately a scholarship to move to USF 2000 in 2024. On behalf of everyone from Anderson Promotions and Cooper Tires, thank you so much for tuning in. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.